Opening statements began in the murder trial of Letitia Stout today. Prosecutors were graphic in their description of just how much 11-year-old Gannon suffered. Now, Gannon's body was found in a suitcase underneath a bridge in Florida by a construction worker back in 2020.
And Stout has pled not guilty by reason of insanity. She's charged with first-degree murder, child abuse resulting in death, and tampering with evidence.
I do understand the position that the defense is in. They have to walk a fine line. Their tone has to be of a certain way, right, to sort of relate to the jury. But gosh, I almost felt like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah, you and I talked about it a little bit. I feel the same way, and I do think, obviously, you made some really good points about the fact that she is presumed innocent. You have to put all your biases away. You start with a clean slate, and here's what you're going to hear about. The experts are going to testify the psychotic break, what she experienced, that she didn't think she was killing an 11-year-old stepson, thought she was killing someone else. I think there were some good points, but I do feel like his tone and demeanor might have taken away from those points a little bit.
Fair enough. All right, let's bring in our guest and see what she thinks. Joining us, trial attorney and host of the podcast Once Upon a Crime in Hollywood, Kelly Hyman. Kelly, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to pose the same question to you. There was a sense there. I understand that you got to walk a fine line as a defense attorney in this case. But I want to get your thoughts on his delivery and whether maybe it was a little bit too much doom and gloom.
I agree with you, and I definitely agree with the judge. I think that he had some really interesting points and key points, but I felt like he was sitting there trying to force his ideas on them. And so I could see the jurors being put off by that fact of not fully absorbing it. One thing that I thought was really interesting when he was talking about the expert, the Yale person, that he said that at the time of the killing that she was legally insane, but the aftermath, he didn't say anything about that, of what happened or what transpired after that fact. So I found that really interesting from a legal standpoint, and also see how that plays out in the courtroom.
I agree with that, but I have to ask too, did you hear anything in any of that opening by the defense that made you feel sympathetic for the defendant? Because I think, Michael, that's something they're going to have to do. Kelly, what are your thoughts?
I think that's a really good point. I didn't hear about anything. I heard that there was some kind of childhood trauma, but I wanted to know more. What exactly was that? Maybe telling a little bit about it, or giving a little story about it, or telling exactly what she went through, I think is key, because they need to make her human. Otherwise, I believe the jury's going to have a really hard time seeing that she is guilty by reason of insanity. They need to humanize her.
I agree. The sympathy.